Morning, everyone. Hey, Marnie, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, going well, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just waiting for Jake to jump on. Hang on, I'll keep adding people in. We've got people jumping on.
I'll watch this one in.
G, how are you?
Good.
GB, Lisa, Stacey, Haley. It's all happening. Brendan. Jeffrey, morning, Jeff.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Buddy.
Same.
Stokesy.
Hello, Marnie Senior.
You're on mute, Marnie.
No, she's not. You there? Hello, Marnie.
Morning, how are you?
Good. I thought I'd dress up as the Candy Man today.
I know, I was going to say, what's that?
Yeah. Good start, Marnie. Good start.
Jake,
Before
where's
we
your
get under-
outfit?
Before we get underway, this is the most
Jake?
stressed I've ever been. Jake and I have been fighting all morning. I'm like, this is my interview. And he's like, it's my interview. I'm like, no, Marnie's my friend. Jake's like, Marnie's my friend. I'm like, I've known a long... You've caused a lot of fucking tension this morning, Marnie. It's very stressful, very, very stressful. All right, I ask a lot of the same sort of questions generally, so I'm going to ask a little bit different. So, Marnie, you've been doing it how long?
So is this straight on me, the whole meeting?
Yeah, mate.
Okay, right.
We'll probably take another
I
fight.
don't love talking about how long I've been doing it for, but I have been doing it for a long time because it's going to make me feel old. But in the 90s, late 90s, so a long time.
That's 22 years.
Yeah.
So you still love it. So let's talk about the deal. Why do you still love it?
I still love it because I just love everything about it. I love every day that's different. I love meeting people. I love evolving and changing the way I do business. But yeah, just every day is different. I love what I do.
The catch and the kill, close the deal. You still love it.
Yeah, riding the highs and the lows, but I still love that about it. Everything about it I love.
And we've got quite a few in our team coming through with the female variety of salesperson coming through. So especially 22 years ago, it was pretty male dominated. Now it's not. There's so many amazing female agents. Like being in Coogee with all those sort of alpha guys in there, how do you hold your own? Like how did you hold your space in real estate?
Oh, there's so many stories around that because where I started, I was really, really grateful to start in an agency back in the day where there was lots of female agents. So okay. I had the good grounding, lots of training, but then joining another office in the Southeast where I am now, which was all males. Yeah. And it was just me coming along to that first sales meeting. It was really overwhelming, to be honest. It was just something that I was not used to at all. Yeah. Lots of stories around those sales meetings, what happened. And from that day, it was when I really had to hold my ground, be confident in what I was doing. And really stand up to them, to be honest. Yeah. Jake knows what I'm like. There's no holding back. I always do the right thing. But then if someone pushes too far, you've really got to stand up for yourself and be confident in what you're doing. Yeah.
And without embarrassing you, you are an attraction agent as far as people do meet you and then want to do business with you. So you're open for inspection. What makes Marnie Senior stand out and open for inspection?
I love, honestly, I do love meeting people and listening to everyone's stories. And it's just asking those key questions, but asking the key questions, not to get their business, but to care, like you actually care about what their story is and where they're relocating and why they're selling or why they're buying. And then follow up on that. So I actually generally care. I don't ask the questions straight out to get their business. And I do follow up and, write notes. So when I'm doing my callbacks from the weekends, I have the notes about the
Can you
questions.
just grab a mute, please, guys? Clayton, I think that's you, buddy.
Yeah, so just
Thank you.
generally care about
Have a good day.
what they're doing. It's not hard.
And then likability and trust, they're two of your good assets. So do you something you've worked at, or is it just
it's just being honest and genuine and caring about exactly what you do.
Cool. Actually, we've just had it. Paul, guys, can you guys go off camera for a sec? Internet slowed up.
Is that what happens in Port Macquarie? Dave? What's happening?
We've still got your Marnie.
Sorry, Marnie, our internet is terrible here.
Oh, is it? So Captain Dave's offline now.
There's so many of us on the
I'll
Zoom.
go and tell him.
Hang on.
Wow. So how many are online?
Sorry.
Hello, we're back, Marnie. Sorry, a bit of internet drama. We got you?
Okay, I just said, is that what happens in Port Macquarie?
Yeah. We only just got the internet 6 months ago.
That's what happens when Stokesy has his camera on.
Yeah. So, and the little things that I've noticed, Marnie, like e.g., like there's an owner in Botany that you'll go around and drop a case of beer off, or you'll go and do different things. So that level of service and that extra, do you think that's really helped grow your business?
Oh, definitely. Just little things that's building those relationships with the clients, and going that little bit of extra step. But it's actually generally reading your client, finding something in common with them. And it's quite often you're walking somebody's house and, being a female, I get in my area, it's really old school Aussies that have been living in their houses for a long time. And there is some old, that's the generation that's in my area in some areas where I work. So I then, have to read that in that person. So not going, in as a different Marnie Senior, I was in Double Bay kind of thing. So going in, reading that. And I have done that before. I have, gone around with a case of beer and had a beer with one of my clients, or a cup of tea and a cake. I met a man the other week, and he's home by himself. He's been in lockdown for a long time. And you can tell that they're getting really, agitated and they're lonely and whatever. So on my way to the appointment, I called him and asked him what, coffee he wanted, and took a cake and a coffee with me and sat down there for an hour or so. So it's just giving people your time, but also caring and like you're generally interested. It's about them. It's not about me. It's about them and their story, and how I can make them feel comfortable in going through the process of selling or buying. And caring about that. And quite often in Sydney right now, that everyone's moving out of Sydney. And, these people have been living in their homes for a long time. So that's something they don't do every day. So we take that for granted, that we understand the process. But some of my clients just have never, ever sold before, or once they've done one transaction. So it's sitting down and actually slowly going through the process and showing them that you care, and pulling up where they're moving to, what's the average sale price, showing them photos of properties that they could be living in the next 6 months. So just understanding their story and why they're moving, and just being really genuine about what you do.
So you got different styles. So obviously you got someone like the Tuma team, like Charles, that was like, his market knowledge was absolutely unbelievable. Then you got Alex Phillips, that's just a workhorse. You've got that personable style. But if you're up against, say, how's your market knowledge? Like, do you do much work on your market knowledge, or is it the fact that you've been doing it that long, or do you only just research when you go into a particular property?
No, definitely do research. I still do research before I go into every property.
Yeah.
So I look up what's been selling in and around that property, know the most recent sale. I went into a listing yesterday in a complex that I've sold one property in there 20 years ago. So before I stepped into that listing appointment, I looked up exactly what's been selling, what aspect they have, how many car spots, how many square meters, quickly looked at the trend of, you know, if it faced north, it was worth this, if it, you know, exactly what was going on in that complex. So when I walked into the appointment, they'd never known that I've never sold in there before. So I could rattle off all the sales. So product knowledge is so important. You need to, you know, have conversations with people. And at the moment, we're doing a lot of phone call, you know, having chats over phone before actually getting in front of them. So having the knowledge and knowing if it's what side of the street, what aspects, is it odd or even, where it sits in the street, all of that is just so important. So,
yes. So even after 20 years, no space for winging it. You've got to be prepared.
No space for winging it. Absolutely. You need to know your product. You need to know what you're selling and exactly what's been going on in the area and around their house. You know, quite often we're selling properties that owners might think it's a duplex site. It's not a duplex site, or, you know, they think their property's, you know, X and it's, you know, something completely different, or they're not aware of what they're sitting on. So you need to know, but you need to actually speak about the product with confidence. And that definitely, you know, helps me. I research every property before I go into it. Every week we look at auction results. Every Monday morning. That's Connor, who works in my team. That's his job. He researches all the auction results on every property. So we have a meeting and we go over everything that's been sold in my core area. And then we do an auction results emails out to our database, but in suburbs.
Yeah, awesome. So we've got quite a few new trainees coming through the business. And one of the biggest things I talk to them about is, like, you need the grunt and the passion. And it's definitely not a 9 to 5 industry. Like, if you want to be in it and you want to be successful, like, it's not 9 to 5, it's not clock watching, it's like full grunt, full passion. In your words, if you were talking to one of them at the moment, like, how would you describe what you need to make it in this industry? Otherwise, you may as well get out.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not 9 to 5. It actually becomes part of your life. And until you jump in 100% and accept that it does become your life, then you're not in it 100%. You won't go, you won't go to your full potential. Every part of my life, everything I do, everyone knows that I sell property. Yeah. So it is part of your life. Whether you're going out on a Saturday night at a party, everyone loves talking about real estate. So there's always conversations about real estate. I might be at footy training with the boys and waiting to pick them up, and somebody will walk over me and ask me what the market's doing. So it needs to become part of your life. And it is not a 9 to 5 job, especially, you know, when I first went really, really hard and you know, built my profile. It's 24/7. It really is. But if you love what you're doing, you don't feel you're working. I actually love it. So I don't feel like I'm working. Yeah,
cool. And then even after 20 years, you still had different coaches, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Obviously it changes, depends on what I want to work on in the team. But yeah, definitely still have coaches. I had Jake for a long time. I'm sad that Jake left us in Sydney. He was amazing. So I need to be made accountable as well. So otherwise you become complacent, and your business will, you know, just plateau or do the up and down cycles. One minute you have a great month and you think you're killing it and it's amazing. And then next month there's no sales. So to be consistent, you've got to keep working on yourself and your training, definitely. And I love to be made accountable. So we all, in my team, we all make each other accountable as well.
So Jake got a wrap there. So I'll just ask the next question. What's the importance of a great auctioneer, Marnie?
Oh, it makes a big difference. Huge difference. Dave's my number one auctioneer, obviously. I can't have him anymore.
All right, we're one all.
No, you got to work closely with the auctioneer as well and be able to read the crowd, read the buyers. So Dave, you were amazing. We're in Sydney, but I can't use you anymore.
Yeah. So one of the big things we're trying to get the team to do, and I mean, I just met Brendan there, and he's about leaning in. And I think, like, even some of the trainees, I've heard them say, oh, like, we've got to go out and do it, or, we've got to have respect or pride, or we've got to do it. I'm like, no, you got to lean in. Like, you got to ask questions. And, like Arthur and I worked together for, 16 odd years, and would still role play everything. That leaning in and that third party idea on a deal, like, how important is that to you, Marnie?
Yeah, really important. Definitely. When Jake was working here, like, sometimes you just got to pick up the phone and ask somebody else before you make a call to an owner or a vendor, or just get a second opinion and lean on others. That's really important. You got to then make that call with confidence, and sometimes just having a conversation with somebody else about what you're about to do, it helps you with a decision that it has to be made. So I feel that's really important. Definitely. I feel that what I do, and it's, at the moment, especially in any market, but, you get an offer from a client on a property, you don't just fire that offer away to the vendor. You need to plan everything around it. And everything I do, there's a plan around it on how I deliver it, whether it's an appraisal, an offer to a client, everything's planned.
And I think that's the difference. We talk about old school real estate to probably the new real estate coming through. And I mean, there's lots of theories and strategies about that. Probably not the right forum to talk about it, but really it's about setting it up, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we need to protect an owner from their own greed. And if we go off and say too much at the wrong time, we can get an owner in the wrong spot.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Every time I get an offer, I sit and digest it. And how am I going to deliver this to the owner? So that's with every property I'm selling. That is always a plan around it. And I really, give it some thought, or, if I pick up when Jake was here, I often picked up the phone and had a chat to him and then worked out a plan before delivering that to the client.
And I talked to the team a lot about intensity and the different levels of intensity in different agents. How do you keep your intensity up?
Oh, at the moment we're going crazy here, but, it's really, I keep it up, and I find that the only time I go off track and lose my intensity when I don't stick to my ideal week. Yeah. For me, I'm very scheduled, and every time I list a property, there's a plan around what happens. But like, if I list a property Monday, Tuesday, I'm in the office doing my callbacks. If something happens and I'm not in the office Monday, Tuesday, I lose my momentum, and it does. It gives me anxious, because I think, oh, I haven't done this, I haven't done that, I haven't done that. I'm not all over my buyers, I'm not all over my vendors. So for me to keep my intensity and to keep that up is sticking to a really strict schedule. And a part of that is your well-being and myself as well. So it's getting up in the morning, training, getting in the office early, and just being planned before you start the day. So every day, every night, I still write my to-do list in an order of priority, and who I'm going to call that next morning. So even this morning, I got up, I knew I was on here at 8:30. So I'm up early, went for a walk, come back, rang vendors between 7:30 and 8:30. So I know now that I'm relaxed and I can do this. And when I come out of it, they're not chasing me. I really like to feel that I'm communicating with my vendors and my purchasers, and I'm all over them. So when we do get an offer, you know what decision to make. You can deliver it to your vendor with conviction, because you are in control of your listings. You know exactly what's going on and what's best for the clients.
And then even as a mate, you're very much in the zone. So if you're around Marnie, you're in Marnie's zone. If you're not, you're out of that zone. So yeah. you are very present in that moment. Is that something you've learned, or it's just something you do?
When I'm in that moment, there is no distractions. I don't know. Like, I feel that I've taught myself and learnt that more when I know that when I do what I do, I feel better. And then when there is a moment that I do switch off, I can actually switch off and relax, and not think, oh shit, I didn't call that person, or I didn't email that person. So it's probably something that I have trained and worked on myself a lot. But you're right, when I'm in that moment, like even my kids and everyone's like, oh, mum's in work mode, leave her, you know, like just let her be. So I need to be in the moment. Absolutely no distractions. Door locked in the office at Coogee. I put a sign up, do not disturb, because I've just got to power away and get my to-do list done. And once it's done, then, you know, walk down and have a coffee or a chat or whatever, and I feel better. I can relax.
Awesome. So Jakey's got some questions, but a bit off track, but I think it's really important. Wealth creation's a big thing for me, and you've worked in different cultures. So obviously the McGrath doesn't really have a strong wealth creation type atmosphere to the business, but then I know that you've worked with some developers and that are very strong in wealth creation. I know you've bought a few different places along the journey as well. And, you know, I know that you can sniff a deal out as far as an investment opportunity. Yeah. What sort of tips could you give the team? And like, if you're in this game, we should be making money out of it, shouldn't we?
Oh, you work to make money. And I just feel that you've got to reward yourself, you know, and setting a goal and buying the property, whether it's buying a property every 2 years or what your goal is, or having your dream home. You've got to work towards something, and you've got to jump in and just get that first property. And once you get that first property, you have a plan around it, because if you've got goals to work towards, it makes you work harder. So I'm really, really big on that. And I probably think too far in the future. And you know, even me now, you know, I'm, you know, getting to a point that I'm at a, you know, a good wealth, you know, I'm happy where I am. You know, I'd like my farm.
You're in retirement age.
Hasn't found me a farm by the beach yet. So, David, I'm still waiting for that, but that's my next goal.
You didn't even come up and look at Crescent. I found it.
I'm still waiting to get my farm by the beach, but you know, and I've got to think about my kids. I want them close to me, and you know, helping them set up. But it's all about goal setting, and anything like holidays, buying property. You know, if there's an opportunity and, you know, you set your goals and you've got that opportunity, you just got to go for it and not think about it. Because once you start buying and once you start, you know, building towards something, it just makes you work harder. It makes you work harder if you've got that goal to work towards, definitely.
Cool. So my last question, you've worked for my favorite mentor for quite some time, my good friend, John McGrath. What would be number 1 or 2 things you've learned off John?
Oh, John is all about figures. So I remember starting at McGrath and going into my first one-on-one with John, and he's like, okay, so what's your goal? What do you mean, what's your goal? How much do you want to do per year? And I'm like, you know, I'd like to do, back then it was, you know, I think it was 800,000 for the year. Okay, well, what do you need to get to that? How many appraisals, how many listings, how many sales per month? And I'm like, just sat there and was like, I've got no idea. So he's all about numbers. And you know what, that's when you just look at your business. And now, you know, we set our goals every 6 months, and you look at within your business and say, okay, well, if I do want to do 2 million this year or 3 million, whatever, what do I need to do? How many appraisals can I do? How many appraisals do I need to do? How many do I need to convert? How many sales do I need to do per month to hit those targets? You really need to know your figures to get there. And that's something when I joined McGrath 10 years ago, I didn't even look at that, to be honest. And it was just something that now we have the goals within the team. And then when you hit those goals, you know, push yourself harder, hire another staff member, I'm working now on goals in building my team, and having agents that I can train and work around me and then oversee them in the future. So every time we look in the business, you know, once you just got to grow and keep growing. Otherwise you'll just plateau and it won't grow. So that's definitely one thing I learned off John is look at your numbers. He's a very direct person. And if we go into a sales meeting and people don't know their figures and where they're at, he drills them. It's interesting. But you know, that's what I learned off John. And also get rid of the negative around your life. So, you know, anyone that's bringing you down, anything that's making you unhappy, just, you know, remove yourself from those people or whatever you're doing, or, you know, bad relationships or whatever it might be. Just remove yourself. Don't surround yourself with negative people. Surround yourself with like-minded people.
And then, and with John, when he talks about 10x or 3x, it's only little changes, isn't it? It's the little changes that make a huge difference.
Little changes. Like when he said, Marnie, this year under $1 million, I'm like, oh, how am I going to do that? But it's slight changes. Then it goes to 2 million, then it goes to 3 million. And you just got to have that. He really puts in self-belief that you can do it and sits down with you and makes you believe that you can do it. And it is slight little changes. And there's the discipline around it. You know, it is all about setting those goals, knowing your numbers, and being really, really disciplined around what you do. And my ideal week, and making, like, you know, I've got my goals in, you know, calls per day and how many clients I want to meet, and making taking every opportunity of every day. So when I'm out of the office on Wednesdays and Thursdays at open home inspections, if I've got time, I'll call a client, pop in, or if you're in the area, I'm just going to pop by and have lunch on my way. So it's just still trying to connect with people, sticking to your ideal week, and discipline around that, and just make the most of every opportunity.
Marnie, I'd like you to meet my dear friend Jake.
Carter, I miss you.
Can't believe I'm fucking sharing it.
I miss Jake Carter. I miss Jake Carter. I'll have to share a TikTok that Jake was really.
I know. We won't be doing this.
We'll back with my staff. No.
We've got a video of you doing cartwheels.
We've got a video of you doing cartwheels. Just on that, Mum. So there's a lot of
get off track.
There's a lot of, mums and dads within the business here. You're a single mum, 3 kids. I've seen what you do. You're absolutely incredible. You run 100+ listings a year and still do all the kids' sports. You're at training. We quite often laugh at 3 o'clock. You'll see Marnie running down the office because she's on her way to pick up the kids from school. Talk to us about work-life balance. How do you work around that?
Yeah, it's it's really tough, but you can't overthink it either. I made the choice. I want to be at pickup with my kids. I want to be at the sporting fields. I want to be with them as much as I can. So it's putting all that in your calendar, and again, just being super organized around it. So I know the days I'm picking up, I know the days that I'm going to sporting and all the activities, but make the most of it while you're there. And I just feel that I'm there, and I'm actually Tilly's coach as well. I train her rep team, OzTag team, or whatever. So it's just being there and being in the moment and blocking out that time. So, and if you do, I can't always come back to my ideal week, but all my kids' activities are in my calendar. So it's just part of the day. And if I do my calls and do my work and do my emails, when I pick up Tilly and go and train her team for an hour and a half, I can switch the phone off or divert it to Connor. So then my phone calls are being answered. So it's making the choice, being really scheduled about what you do and knowing what you're doing every day, and just being really organized. And look, it's not easy. You know what I'm like. I go through stages. I'm, cooking dinner at 6 a.m. or putting the slow cooker. The kids are over the slow cooker, but it's just what I have to do. So, and then I get to do quality time with them. When I'm actually with them, I'm in that moment, phone off or diverting to somebody else, so it's getting answered. And that's a choice I make. My life is crazy. It's really, really crazy busy, but I do love it. I love that I can do that. And what job can you, if I was working 9 to 5 in the city, there is no way I'll be picking up every day. And there's no way I can go to Tilly's athletics carnival, swimming carnivals, or be her coach. So I'm actually really grateful that I can do that. I can put things in my calendar and I can be there for them. So I'm grateful for what I do every day, and that what we put in is what you get out, and it can be really financially rewarding, which is every day I wake up, I think how grateful I am that I can do this job that I love.
And Marnie, I think for the mums especially, I see some guilt sometimes when they're trying to balance it. And I think, and even though we're saying how that can work, I know there's times where it doesn't work for you, and it's just putting the big rocks in, trying your best, and trying to balance both and not have that guilt, around it,
Yeah, definitely. And you do go through stages, you have some guilt, but then you're like, no way, it's the other mums that do nothing, that are in the playground, that talk, and you're like, you just got to block it out. They got no life. So you got to own it. You got to be happy and comfortable with what you do. And you just got to block that, have no guilt, because I decided that I wanted to do this, but I also want to take my kids on holidays. I want to be able to help them in life. Baxter just turned 17 and, we bought his first car, and that's the choice that I make, that I work, but I can also give them a better life. And, that's not my parents, I didn't come from anything. It's all within, and I've created this by myself. So I'm grateful, but that's the choice I make. And I can enjoy really good holidays and, take them away. But I feel that if you work hard and you don't have the guilt and you can turn that phone off and be in the moment, you're present in that moment, you spend more quality time with them. I especially at the moment, I'm doing a lot of work from home. So, I'll stick to my ideal week and I'll go out and we'll, do clay making or Tilly's into cooking, which is killing my life. But it's, you can do the quality time and turn your phone off and spend time with them. So, you do go through the guilty moments, but I think I'm hoping, and I don't know what, if it's the right thing or not, but I'm hoping that my kids see how hard I work and what rewards we get, and it will make them do the same. So I hope that. And how do you know? Like, I really truly don't know if it's going to do that. I mean, my eldest is really, really driven. He frightens me how driven he is, but I don't know about the other two, how they're going to turn out, but I hope that,
Well, I think we've got about a minute to go. Jake, you had one more question?
I'm all good.
You're all good.
Yeah, we're all good.
So,
good, Jake. What's the words?
Completely cut.
Yeah, you're done. You're done. Mate, we're just actually,
We're
keeping everyone on for the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes to talk about customer service, Marnie. So we're putting some things in our business. I don't know if you've got to go, but if you want to spend 5-10, you can have a listen.
Yeah, I'd love to listen to you, Dave. So absolutely.
Now I'm nervous. What do I do?
It's been an absolute pleasure.
All right, guys, big clap for Marnie to take time out. Thank you very much. All right, mute yourself, Marnie.
I'll mute myself. Hang on, I have to get Tilly to do that. No, I'm only joking.
All right, cool. All right, guys. So you're going to hear a lot about it at the moment. So the leadership team at the moment are reading the book Good to Great. And in the Good to Great book, they talk about a flywheel. So every business needs Stacey's coming on. All right. Hi, Stacey. So every business, if you want to go from a good business to a great business, needs something a little bit different inside their business. And for us up here, our difference is going to be the size of our business, the size of our sales business, the amount of offices we've got. And now with Southwest Rocks, we'll be close to 4,500 management. So what we need to build on that. So the way we're going to build on that is by building a customer service division. We survey just on a management level, basically how we treat the team, sort of 1 to 10 with training and all the different things we do. And then we also then surveyed how we think we treat the customers. And there was a gap. So what we need to do is just add some little things, as Marnie was talking about before, just some real little things inside the business that'll make a difference from straight away in the customer service. So for now, we're going to do it in sales and in the new business. But as we go on, we're going to go back to that client base of property management and then start really talking to them about wealth creation, finance, and all sorts of other cool things we can do. But for now, every time we get a new listing in the business for now, they will be getting a phone call off Tony, congratulating them to go with Elders Lifestyle Group. And there's a short little video that I've done up. So they'll get a video from the CEO. Every time we get an offer and acceptance, same thing. Tony will just give them a quick call. He's not there to get involved in the sales. No matter where it is, which office, he'll say, congratulations, you're at O&A. And then I've done up a little video that will just talk about the little tips from how to go to O&A through to exchange. Wendy, I met with yesterday, and Wendy's actually going to put that in agent box. So it'll be quite automatic. Now, in relation to on exchange, from a business point of view, they'll now get a small gift from Elders Lifestyle Group. So the agents, you'll be responsible for the settlement gift. But I think the exchange is one of the better moments in the whole transaction. So from behalf of our business, we'll be sending a little gift. Beck Jordan will then be calling them 3 days later. From that point of view, that's like the concierge service. So she'll find out whether they need a removalist, whether they need insurance, whether they need finance, whether they need a rental property, whether they've got something to sell. It'll just be another touch point inside the business, more from a concierge type system to then also fund this. So, I mean, we need this as a cost center as well. So then we'll be looking at how we can put on other features without it being too salesperson. By that stage, they would have already got their gift. They would have already spoken to Tony. So you can see that we're lifting our level of service. On top of that, agents do get busy or things go wrong, we've now got other touch points inside the business that they can contact us. Management will never get involved in your sales process. They're not there to do that. They're just a touch point. If it comes back and there's a problem, it'll come through the teams and it'll certainly come back through you guys. Beck's notes will go back into agent box. She'll send a quick little email. So you'll be able to see what Beck's spoken to about that. And it'll never get in the way of, oh, like they just tried to sell us something. It's going to be very casual, very relaxed. All right, from the PM side of things, one of the biggest, look, a happy tenant is a happy landlord. So we're looking at changing that process. So after every tenant moves in, they will be now getting a tenant pack, just a small little thing. But I think this is, I don't know any other office doing this. Beck's actually going to call them once they've moved into the property after a certain period. I don't have it here, but I think it's within 7 days, just to call them, just to make sure they've moved in and everything's okay. And I think we need to tell our landlords this, that if we, as I said, if your tenant's happy, there's not too many landlords that aren't going to be happy. All right, we're going to be doing that across the whole group. Beck's going to be doing Zooms this week with the Northern Rivers officers, just to touch base. That started in Port, but that'll go across the board. New business, as we get new business, there's also a little tenant video that I've done up. So it'll come from the CEO, a little video saying, welcome aboard and how much that we respect tenants, blah, 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 blah. From new business, I think it's important that Hayley builds up her profile within the business. So every new business that comes into the business from now on, this is from Monday, Hayley will be sending an email out, congratulating them. I saw one yesterday, Hazel done real, congratulating them for becoming part of the lifestyle group. And then from that, they're going to be getting a candle. They're coming here on the 20th of September. So they'll get a little candle as appreciation. And then there's a little video from me down the bottom, also welcoming them part of the team. The candles are going to come in. Between now and then, we've just got some small gifts that we're going to be sending out. So this is just the start of the customer service. And coming through next year, we're going to be really honing in on our database. By the end of the year, Agent Box will be right across the board throughout the whole business. We're going to have a lot more access with Flow and all the other little add-ons we're going to be doing. And all these little touch points with our clients is going to, one, lift our service level. It's going to change our referrals and really grow from there. And I really believe it's going to compound. So, yeah, they're the little things that we're installing. You know, I want to thank Tony's been a big part of that. Beck's been a big part of that. And of course, Laura and other people. So thank you, gang. We've got to keep moving. We've got a heap on today. If anyone's got any questions in relation to the customer service or the sales team are worried about how that might work in, they're all just add-ons, guys. It'll work really well. But any questions, come back to me. All right. You can steal all that, Marnie. All right, gang, have a good day. We're on for a group update at 9:15 across the group, just to talk about COVID and a few different other things. So I'll see you at 9:15, guys. Have a good day. Thanks, Marnie, again. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.